Hello everyone, welcome to another YouTube video. Thank you for joining me today. And the stars have aligned. Both Activision and Ubisoft kind of frequent the same area, and what's going on at one has been translating into another, so I thought I would combine the two stories today because there have been some updates regarding the Activision Blizzard situation and Ubisoft, and it's not really substantial enough to make a new video for each, personally. So I've combined the two, and hopefully this will be, a short one because there's not a lot of information to go for. But what's happened here is, obviously, you'll see in the title, you'll know what's happened. That has only happened because Activision Blizzard employees formed a working group to protect their interests together. And then that was picked up, supported online, all over social media, and they have achieved some change here. I'm not going to poo-poo it, It's very difficult to get any sort of change out of a corporation under capitalism, The whole system is there to exploit the worker. So any change can be considered a win, I'm not about to sit here and gatekeep fucking a movement here that I'm not really part of. I've just been reporting the stories, and trying to raise awareness for it, raising awareness for the petition. And the problem that entails is that very petition that I signed and advertised on the channel, somebody would spam at me in any tweet that I mentioned about the situation, because I've been outspoken about it, as you would do. And the problem is, people just think you're a bot when you do that. Even I was like, is this just a bot designed to just jump on keywords and throw the petition out there to gain thing, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but it will put off the majority of the people dealing with that person, and it does overall damage the movement, literally. And that's what I said to the person. I said it in good faith because I didn't want any sort of situation where people get put off, because these days people can literally be put off by the slightest thing. You have thousands of people who became right-wing because somebody on the left was mean to them. That's how little a social movement can massively change the public perception of, virtually over nothing. And by the way, if you've ever done that, that's pathetic. Oh no. Anyway, Activision Blizzard ends forced arbitration as CEO takes a massive pay cut. So two things this year that I have kept up with regarding this company have massively changed in the case of a few days. It's very interesting. So this is just some of the further steps that they're trying to do in regards of the entire situation following the sexual harassment and discrimination lawsuits, and they are facing multiple of those. Obviously, they want to change their image, and you can only do that by taking some steps and doing something, I don't think this is one of the I don't think that this is one of those occasions, especially after the whole Me Too movement has risen to prominence over the last several years. I don't think individuals and companies are simply going to have an easy time just carrying on like nothing happened once serious allegations come out about you. And I think that is a really good thing, personally. So, Mr. Kotig says that Activision Blizzard will employ a zero-tolerance harassment policy. Let's be real. Does he want a fucking medal? That should be the case across the industry anyway. I literally do not care who you are, right? I don't care who you are in the game industry. Nobody is too important in game design to be above punishment for harassment. It's disgusting. I've been on the end of it, It's not that easy to get over. What happened to you carries over, and you do remember it. It's not something that you can just forget immediately. They are waiving arbitration in sexual harassment and discrimination claims, so you can sue them now, which, good. There needs to be some sort of justice for this, because, the fact that that was written into contracts, and probably is across the board in many industries, is a giant red flag, isn't it? We may treat you like shit. Bad things may occur to you on the workplace, but you can't take us to task over it, really. At all. You do not have those rights, and they call it the land of the free. And the billion-dollar net worth CEO will take a massive pay cut, earning only $62,500 per year in total compensation until the board of directors feels certain diversity, equity, and inclusion goals are met. Interesting. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. I'm cynical. I'm cynical over the board of directors. I feel like they're going to be very quick to pat themselves and the CEOs on the back, because he has effectively overseen their growth into one of the most profitable companies in the entire world. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to be for very long, really. And also, he earns so much money anyway, and has earned so much money. He's literally worth several billion. It doesn't matter to him. So if anyone's just like worried about his finances, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Like, Jesus. The fact people do simp for billionaires is an inherently depressing thing to me. But it's good. He's no longer getting that $155 million pay package. For now, anyway. For now. So the company says that they want to invest over $250 million over 10 years in programs that support diversity in the gaming and technology industries. That's not too bad, but, obviously, it's one of those things. $25 million per year is just a little bit more than what they're having to pay for the settlement, actually, when you break it down. Activision is also committing to expanding the number of women and non-binary people it employs by 50%. Now, currently, I don't know how many they do, but they want to expand that by 50%. So that's, as far as I'm aware, it's a small number now, and they want to increase it by another small number, right? Which kind of comes off as a token gesture. You see that 50% and you wonder, oh, does that mean they're going to have a lot more diversity? No, it doesn't. It's yet another small change that they're doing. But it's something. Congratulations to the ABK Workers Alliance, because you kept the pressure on. And because of your pressure, you have finally got the end to force arbitration, which was one of the things that you desperately wanted. It's just, I don't know if your other desires are going to be met. I hope that they are, because, most of the people supporting that have probably gone through hell at the hands of this company. His current compensation for the year is roughly just lower than the average salary at the company. And that sounds like a big number, but the company is based in California, and of the little to no experience I have on the area, it's similar to living in London, where everything costs more in that state, like it does in London. That's why people in London have a raised wage compared to everywhere else in the country, because inflation is out of control in London. But yeah, totally normal country, the UK. So, what we just discussed has created a ripple effect amongst Ubisoft workers. Ubisoft workers demand swifter action from leadership after Activision concedes to employee demands. Now, hopefully, they get what they want, because the Ubisoft situation, I've said it many a times before, the same energy wasn't applied to that company. So they didn't have to do any embarrassing step downs or anything. No, but people did resign, of course, but they weren't fired. Only the lower ranking members throughout the company were fired. The people at the top were allowed to leave, which is different to being fired. And they just weren't roasted or held accountable nearly to the same level. And I wonder if it's because of that, more people have been vocal about Activision Blizzard, or it's quite simply the case of Ubisoft is more popular because it makes more games that people like than, well, just Call of Duty if you're Activision, or Overwatch and World of Warcraft, and Diablo if you're Blizzard. So because it's got a more varied portfolio, maybe more people are willing to turn a blind eye to what's going on at Ubisoft. So, I didn't know this, but a better Ubisoft is a workers' collective obviously trying to have real and permanent change at Ubisoft. And they were celebrating what's going on with a better ABK. And this is wonderful because the more groups that you have like this throughout each company, the more likely it is to see some change for the employees throughout the industry. Some much needed change, I might add. So here's some things that they said. 16 months since Ubisoft was forced to take limited action following public posts on Twitter, you talk about a strategic roadmap of change for HR that you are getting ready to start rolling out, giving no timeline for delivery or any hint of what those changes will be. Only yesterday, Activision Blizzard committed to increase their number of women and non-binary workers by 50% within 5 years. They have promised to invest $250 million to accelerate opportunities for diverse talent and to release annual salary transparency reports meeting some of the ABK Workers Alliance demands. In just 3 months, it seems, they have listened to the concerns of employees and acted on them. While our demands are not identical, many overlap and could be addressed through similar actions just as swiftly. And here's the thing, right? I bet a Ubisoft will just feel like they're just being ignored. I think to a certain degree, each group, I think both companies looked at them and went, what's the smallest amount of changes we can make to try and satisfy each group, And obviously, the public was really on the side of the Activision Blizzard situation. So it was harder for Activision Blizzard, but for Ubisoft it's been easier because they continue to get coverage of all their games. They're not really noticing any drop off in sales, I wouldn't have imagined. So they're just carrying on like nothing's happened and they've not really been damaged by it at all. Whereas, Activision Blizzard are going to be a bit worried about their upcoming releases because the PR backlash have been intense, to say the least. We've spoken in the past about how Yves Gilmour has come out and said important progress has been made, but, we need to see the fruits of that, really. Because it's not been a short amount of time. It's been well over a year, and a lot of people at Ubisoft think that things are just going much about the same. People who allegedly did this thing are still working for the company. So potentially they just could do it again at a later date because they haven't faced any sort of punishment before. But yeah, hopefully, some way, somehow, they can, break through to people and the wider general public through this pressure group to really connect with people about what happened, and then people can start talking about it to try and force Ubisoft's hand into doing something. That is the ideal solution here. So that's the video. Short and sweet, that one. It was just 2 stories that were really quick to cover. I offered my opinion on it, so, made it a little bit longer. But there isn't much to say. Who knows what's going to happen across Ubisoft and Activision in the future. We just don't know what they're going to react to this situation, I can only speculate, and there's only a limited things I can speculate upon, Every time I think I'm out, there's literally another story, And I am committed to covering this as detailed as I possibly can. So, there's a lot of revisiting, but I didn't want to, say the timeline, because I'd like to think most people know what happened at this point, If you haven't, just go watch the mountain of videos I've made on Activision or Ubisoft. There's plenty of there to get your teeth into. If you like what you saw, or you just want to support the channel because you appreciate what I do have a Ko-fi, which is effectively an alternate place for you to just donate some money that goes straight to me. So if you want to do that, I'd very much appreciate it, you know, because a lot of time goes into these, believe it or not. But, you know, it's entirely up to you. I'm just looking forward to be able to talk about something else at this point. And the next videos, ideally, if nothing more happens regarding this, are going to be so petty by comparison. It's going to be quite fun for everyone, I would imagine. And we can have discussions about less serious topics. Like, who cares? Like, who actually cares about remakes and remasters? You know, they're not ruining anyone's lives, unlike, you know, an abusive workplace culture. Yeah, anyway, once again, thanks for watching. I hope I see you in the next video.